This month, we are talking about one of my favorite topics, which is self-care for high achievers. A high achiever doesn't have to mean that you're a business owner or an entrepreneur. It just means that you want to live the best life possible and you want to show up as the very best version of yourself day in and day out. In order to make that happen, there's definitely some self-care tips. I even did a quick 5-tip video on self-care. To really be a high achiever, to really show up day in and day out, you're gonna have to take it a little bit deeper and look into self-care on 7 different pillars. So I wanna talk about each of those pillars with you. The first pillar of self-care is mental self-care. Do you unplug? Do you set the phone down? Do you take time when someone's talking to you to look them in the eye and be present and listen? That is being unplugged. And when you're unplugged and you're taking care of your mental self-care, you're also being creative. You're daydreaming, you're journaling, you're drawing, you're painting, you're doing something. Maybe you're just going outside for a nature walk, but you're taking time away from the day-to-day to-do list that's always running in your head, the work things that you still need to do, the dates, the deadlines, the kids' schedules. There's so many things that we have this mental capacity always running, and unplugging is not just your phone and stepping away from the phone, but unplugging your mind to just relax a little bit and get into some creative flow state. The second pillar of self-care is emotional self-care, and this is really taking care of your heart. This is where you get into your feelings and your emotions and that self-talk. You have to go in and actually observe your self-talk and then realize, wow, I kind of say some negative things to myself, or some negative things come out of my mind. This is taking care of your emotions. And as I've talked about and will continue to share, is those emotions inside will tell you if that self-talk is positive or negative based on how you're feeling. Make sure that you are doing some emotional self-care as well. Next is the pillar of physical self-care. So a lot of times people just think about physical and working out, and that is part of physical self-care, is exercising and being outdoors. But also one thing that I think is underrated and one of my favorite things in the world to do is sleep. And that is also part of taking care of you physically, because that's when your body repairs, that's when you can rest, that's when you can shut off the mind. Making sure you're getting enough sleep, maybe doing one of the sleep apps. I have a sleep app that I absolutely love, and I don't use it every night, but I do it, a couple times a month just to check in to see how I am sleeping and make sure that I'm getting good quality sleep. And also, if you need a nap, take a nap. If you need a little 20-minute rest during the day, that's just as important sometimes as going to the gym. You have to really listen to your body with that physical self-care and know, do I need a little rest to take care of my body right now? Do I need more water? Do I need some fruit in my diet? What am I missing nutrition-wise? And that exercise piece, of course, is part of physical self-care. The fourth pillar of self-care is environment. This one is overlooked a lot, but you want to look around at the environment that you are in, whether it's your home environment, or a lot of people spend just as much time in their work environments. Look around and see, how does your environment make you feel? Do you have a lot of clutter, a lot of piles on your desk, a lot of things everywhere? That can really, really affect your mindset and your mental output. Look around, find those things that you can do in your office. Sometimes changing the lighting, adding more light, getting more direct sunlight. Sometimes doing different paint colors can help with that self-care as well. Adding some music in the background. I love to add like plants and live living things into my environment. So make sure you look at that, because that's an important part of self-care, your environment. The next pillar of self-care is recreational. These are your experiences, your activities, your hobbies, a lot of the things that really light you up and make you passionate. And these are the things that a lot of times get pushed out of our schedules or pushed out of the way, or we're trying to do what everyone else wants to do that's in our lives. With this, you really want to just sit down, think of the things you love to do recreation-wise, and make sure you weave those into your schedule. For me, I just went on a girls' college weekend and we went rafting down the river and had so much fun. And that's something I might not have just picked a Saturday afternoon and taken the whole afternoon and done. And sometimes you have to be pushed out of those comfort zones or just go with the flow. But it was a great reminder for me on things that I love to do and making sure I have time in my life for that. And that is recreational self-care. Next is social self-care. And these are the relationships that you are in with friends, with family, with coworkers, and also making sure that these are healthy relationships. I mentioned that I went on this girls' weekend. I am telling you, we laughed for hours. I think I laughed for 2 hours straight. And that was a huge reminder for me about my social self-care, because laughing is the best medicine for the soul. And I know that sounds cliche, but everyone knows when you have that good laugh, when you're laughing so hard that you are crying, it is like honey on the soul. It is medicine and you feel better. So make sure you're taking the time in your schedule, in your days, to have social self-care. And the last pillar of self-care is spiritual self-care. So this is just aligning with your higher power, with knowing that there is a power so much bigger than you. There is a divine that's looking over you, and you need to connect to something bigger than yourself. We all walk around in this world so turned to the inside and so worried about ourselves, and is everyone worried about us and looking at us and wondering what we're wearing, and did we say the wrong word, and did we fumble on a video? You know what? That doesn't matter. Everyone is walking around probably just worried about themselves too. And if the whole world would just take a minute and take a deep breath and connect to something bigger than themselves, they would realize that that is the true gift, is finding that presence within and connecting with it. To me, that's one of the most important, if not the most important pillar of your self-care, spiritual self-care.